RedSeaPodcast for the second time today. If earlier this morning you missed the amazing interview that I had with Steve Kundru at, not over at, from Hellas Football, do go check that out. Steve was an incredible guest, and honestly, I managed to hear some of the most inspiring, incredible stories that I have heard yet. And as I mentioned, it was easily one of, if not the best episode that has been recorded on this show in this past year and some months now. So do go check that out if you somehow missed it. There will be clips to that interview posted up tomorrow, hopefully. So you have a more of a sneak peek to see if the interview interests you. But I would really, really recommend it. Now, to get into the reason why the second show of the day is happening, of course, Olympiacos beat AEK 2-0 in the Hagia Sophia, a stadium that we love, as it seems. And while the game proved to be even more uneventful than we originally maybe even thought, there is a few positives that came out of it, and I really want to, I really wanted to come on here and point them out. But before we fully get into performances and stuff, of course, uh, you can find anything you want down below regarding the show, all the socials, everything and anything. Comment as always anything you want. Message me on anything you want. This show's base is interaction with the community, and that's never gonna change. I apologize for what just fell. That was my laptop's charger. Let me fix that really quickly. Okay, I hope that wasn't uh, the biggest of jump scares for you all. But yeah, as I was saying, anything you may need uh, for this show is down in the description with a lot of things, as you have seen with this week having been arguably the one of the biggest weeks that this show has had. Even bigger things are being planned, stuff is being organized better and better as time goes on, and honestly, I can't wait to show you all the the plans that I have for everything. Getting into purely football now, I wanna stray on a bit of a parenthesis and congratulate, of course, Olympiacos loved and Olympiacos born and bred Kostas Tsimikas for being the first Greek to lift the Premier League title along with my beloved Liverpool earlier today. So an achievement that's second to none, honestly. A trophy that 90% of the footballing population dreams of lifting, and an achievement that will never be forgotten in Greek football history. So, a congratulations to Kostas isn't even nearly enough to cover the insane the insane achievement that he just made true. Now, the most important thing, and the thing that's in everyone's mind, and the thing that will dictate the summer a lot before we full on get into celebratory mode, is that after Celtic officially and finally won the Scottish Premiership a couple of days ago. Olympiacos will be in the league phase of the Champions League. In the league phase after years where we belong, me and Gav have said many a time how much UCL football would mean for this club in multiple ways, whether that's player pool, whether that's player retention, as we've, for example, seen with Musakitis that straight up rejected an offer from Borussia Dortmund to stay and play Champions League football with Olympiacos, how much it would mean financially with the massive economic boost of qualifying straight for the league phases. And in general, it's finally Olympiacos being back to where they belong in Europe. And it will certainly make next season way more interesting. Of course, it's had an effect on tickets as well, with over 15,000 renewals on season tickets. That was yesterday. I'm pretty sure it probably is way more now. So the revenue of the club from that as well benefits so much more than it would. And it's just a joy to see Olympiacos back at the stars again. And I already can't explain how much I'm anticipating the draw at the end of August and how much I am hoping and praying that this summer goes as it should. Of course, news coming out as well. The news ramped up very quickly, going from rumor to very close to done deal to the player traveling immediately to pass his medical and sign his contract. And that, of course, is Remy Cabella. Remy, we talked about him earlier with Steve as well. I am planning to make a whole separate video just for him. It's not gonna be nowhere as professional as Aris from Thrylos 7 Scout Reports are, but I am planning to try and base transfers around specific videos. So I'll just quickly say my first opinion on the player. At the very beginning, when the rumor first came out, I was on the fence, and it's not the player's quality that had me on the fence. Of course, there is a massive concern when the player is 35 years old. But again, it may be, I don't remember who said it, it may be transfer drama coming out because of the gigantic number of flops that we've had coming in recently. William, Oliveira, and Co. Uh, and age may not even play a part in what Remy can give to this team, but it's that inconsistency as well. But doing more and more research in what he's done this season, what he's done in the past few years, I'm getting more and more positive. Like looking at stats, looking at performances, minutes, and everything. I'm still reserved about what we'll see, but I'm way more positive than I was at the beginning. And and I am extremely positive on the other end about the planning around the summer because as I said, it needs to be perfect. Needs to be perfect. And if we're starting to bring in players this early and we're aiming for bigger and bigger, I am honestly extremely positive. Another parenthesis that I want to open. is a massive, gigantic congratulations to the volleyball girls that from the beginning of the season to the end have made us extremely proud, and that of course today lifted the league, completing the domestic treble, which is an incredible achievement and deserves all the props in the world. Now, finally getting into the game. Two goals, of course, scored by Velde and Yaremchuk, and I saw this comment, and honestly, Jesus Christ, the fact I, yeah, the fact that Christopher Velde scored his first league goal ever since September, if I'm not completely mistaken, and the fact that Christopher Velde scored in a derby, it's surreal to me. That whole goal sequence is so incredibly surreal to me because the goal sequence starts from Marco Stamenic getting the ball, dribbling past the entirety of the AEK midfield, slotting the ball over to Selson, who assists Vende, who scores honestly a very good goal with his first touch. And God, is that surreal to sit here and utter out that Christopher Velde scored with a Zelson assist, and the man that has to be given the most credit for that goal coming alive is Marco Stamenic. I mean, no disrespect. I really don't. But I, I think that anyone that said that they weren't surprised from this goal, part of Zelson, isn't in this category. Zelson is amazing, has been amazing. But part of the deep form, Zelson has been one of our most productive players this season. That's a whole different story. But anyone that said they weren't surprised either by Stamenic's uh, just amazing run and or by Velde's goal, I'm pretty sure you're lying to us all. But credit given where credit is due, and honestly, great build up, great goal, and a goal that came also, dare I say, at the most crucial point it could, of course, 43rd minute, after a half where we'll get into Jolakis, but after a half that Ike made some grave mistakes, grave proven mistakes, by missing chances that shouldn't be missed, and by Jolakis making some of his most impressive saves that he's made all season, especially that save against that Lamela dead rain shot with his. I don't even think that Jolati saved that with his leg. I think Jolati saved that with his damn toe. That save especially is up there for save of the year for me, and I don't think I'm overreacting on that. That save is way harder than it looked, and that save is way more admirable than anyone has made it out to be. But even aside that save, the chances, the countless amounts of chances that Jolaki saved today we came into the game saying, which was true, that this game for us didn't matter for shit. Of course, Olympiacos should always win these games, but mathematically we're champions. It didn't matter for shit. People played with their engines turned to like 50%, and yet Jolakis put up one of the performances of the goddamn season. Whether it's that Lamella save, whether it's that save where the ball just flip flopped between high players and Vandalos shot it again from like 2 centimeters in front, whether it's that long range save from Vandalos, whether it's that save from Pierrot, whether it's God knows what save. What a game for today's MVP by a landslide and a goddamn half. But aside the goal and Zolakis' save, the first half, honestly, very uneventful. Not really anything on our end, not really anything serious on Ike's end. Very uneventful and nothing to criticize, but also nothing really to actively talk about for Southwest. Now moving into the second half, we started more or less the same way as the first half started, with Ike getting a couple of chances, Solakis making a couple of incredible saves, so on and so forth. We moved the ball around a bit up until the 72nd, where the man, the myth, the derby legend, Roman Yaremchuk, gets subbed on for Ayub El and 2 goddamn minutes after picks up a wonderful ball from Chiquinho and tears Brignoli a whole new one. I don't think I can physically sit here and recall a stronger goal this season, especially from this close. It really felt like that if Brignoli tried to save that ball, his hand would go in the net along with said ball. It was unsavable. Honestly, it was unsavable. And what's there to say about Yarenchuk? What a wild ride of a season this man has had, going from bang average to getting criticized to, of course, having the problems that he's still having off the field to stuff going up, stuff then going a bit down again. And damn near at the end of the season has been so perfect. Even before the Bodo game, he was picking up form. Then the Bodo game came and he gave us the win, securing half of UCL football. And then he has scored against AEK a countless amounts of times, gave us an incredible goal that ultimately gave us the result against Panathinaikos, humiliating Dragowski in the process. And my bad. Uh, Let me just rewind and correct myself a bit. I'm pretty sure that Yaremchuk scored a brace against Panathinaikos that game, if I'm not completely mistaken, which proves my point even more. And we've seen a whole new man. We've seen a whole new player. And for all the ups and downs that Yaremchuk has had, for all the contribution that he's given us, being one of the main reasons, especially in the derbies, because this man, League and Cup, has scored 7 goals. 6 of those has been against Panathinaikos and AEK, being a main reason why we're in the cup final, being a main reason why we're lifting the league, and being half the damn reason that we are in the league phase of the UCL next year on. Roman Yaremchuk has earned his place here next year. Roman Yaremchuk has gone from doubts to people realizing, not even saying, but realizing that he deserves to be here next year. And I've been so wrong at points about Yaremchuk, and I've accepted it many times, and I will again and again and again publicly. I've said this phrase in the past. I am never as happy as when I'm wrong about doubting a player. I am never as happy as when I'm wrong about doubting a player. Another player that Mendy has gotten the absolute best out of, and a player that has written his name rightfully in our history, and a player that deserves his place in the squad next season, as with the rest of the squad, he'll rightfully be among the stars. Now, regarding the rest of everyone that played, nothing really too eventful. Costinha struggled a bit. I wouldn't say that Costinha had a bad game, but he struggled a bit against Koita, given that he also came out at the 67th for Rodinei, who is Rodinei. He's been one of our most consistent, if not our biggest consistent of uh, the whole season, uh, Europe Cup and League included. I I think that if you try to name more consistent players than Rodney, it would at best be a handful of them. So yeah, Rodney, there isn't many words needed to describe his performance today. I thought Rechos and Pirola both had a good game, but once again, Rechos is out here proving why he needs to be a pillar of this team in the back. He's our most valuable asset right now, performance wise, along with the man that partnered him today. I I would like to see that duo moving forward in the rest of the games as well. And I would like to see Biancon coming off the bench as he did today, given that Carmo is not gonna play up until the final. And Bruno honestly had the consistently good game that we expected Bruno to have. No real complaints about Bruno. Danny Garcia did the work that we need him to do up until he got subbed out at the 67th as well for Sandiese. I talked about Stamenic. Honestly, a good way to go out. Of course, Stamenic is not gonna be here next season as he is alone. There are talks that Stamenic may very well return to Red Star, so we'll see about that. But it's a good way to top off one of your last, if not your last performance in an Olympiacos shirt. Selson, of course, speaking of the assists, Selson had quite the good game, quite the active game. Chiquinho is such a gem in that midfield, and Chiquinho performs so good even on his bad days, if that makes sense. Well, of course, saving his whole game with that goal. Also very active. Can't say anything bad about him. El Khabib, Ayub missed a chance that perhaps he shouldn't have with that Brignoli mistake, but what to do? Honestly, I can't physically sit here and say anything bad about anyone. Ese again did the work he usually does. Roddy, I already talked about. Yaremchuk, I talked about in length. And as much as Yaremchuk had a very good game, I'd still give the MVP to Jolakis. Drop who your MVP is in the comments if you want to. And Biancone and Murakitis didn't really have the time to do much, as we brought them on to just see out the game, of course, and leave the rest of the players in absolute disarray, as I'm pretty sure Paok did beat Panathinaikos if a last minute change didn't happen. Someone do inform me if you are aware. But as I left it, uh, I can now fourth with Paok beating Panathinaikos 2-1. And God, is this chaotic? Is the race for Europe chaotic? And is it so nice to not give a flying shit? Is it so nice to just sit back and relax and wait for the championship celebrations next match day? I honestly can't wait for that. I can't wait to see the title officially back home where it belongs. I can't promise anything. I probably won't have a ticket in my possession, but I may be around the stadium for the celebrations afterwards and just watch the game near the stadium or at the cafeteria outside. So I'll keep you all updated if you wanna come and say hi. And yeah, that's about it. Honestly, it feels nice to be in such an amazing position in football, and it feels nice to end such a historic year this way. A double is still to come, and everything is still to come in every department of this club. For the second time today, thank you all for everything. Do go check out the interview. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all as we hopefully celebrate our Final Four qualification in the EuroLeague. Thank you.